Well, yes, if you are taking your dog out for a walk, if you're a dog owner or perhaps walking it for a friend or relative, you may not think twice about throwing a stick for a game of fetch, but vets are warning against it, saying that it can cause serious and potentially life-threatening injuries.
Yeah, have a listen to this example. Mika, a cockapoo from Yorkshire, had a lucky escape after a 14-centimetre stick became lodged in her mouth while on a walk. Dave Edwards reports.
For Mika and her owner Chris, a walk in the Baildon countryside is a highlight of the day. But one evening last month, something went wrong.
She found this little twig about so long, about so thick. So I just kept picking it up and throwing it for her. She'd pick it up, bring it back. I'd pick it up and throw it for her again. And one time I did that, I threw it, she went after it, and she just screamed a horrible scream that I never want to hear again.
Chris found half the stick, but couldn't find the other half. Little did he know it was lodged inside Mika's throat. After 4 weeks of being unwell and several trips to the local vet, no one knew what was wrong. So Mika was eventually sent for a CT scan at Swift Referrals in Wetherby.
This is the back of her mouth, and can you see this tubular structure?
Yeah.
It starts there. That is the stick, and we can see it passing through the back of her mouth, running just above the windpipe, miraculously managing to avoid puncturing her throat, her windpipe. It avoids all of the major blood vessels that are running through her neck, and it almost makes it all the way into her lungs, and it just stops there.
After the scan, Mika had an operation to finally get rid of the foreign object.
Given the size of the stick and how far along through her neck it had travelled, she was incredibly lucky not to have had a more serious injury or indeed to have been killed. My advice would be not to let dogs play with sticks because the potential consequences if something goes wrong can be catastrophic.
Less than 2 weeks on from the operation, Mika is out enjoying her walks again. Chris says her recovery has been amazingly quick and she's back to her old, energetic self.
The biggest thing I've got is guilt for throwing sticks. People had told me before that it's dodgy, they can go in their eyes, they can go in their throats, they can stab them, whatever. But you always think, oh, it's the easiest thing to do on a walk. You just pick up a stick and throw it. But never again.
A lesson learnt and a lucky dog.
Yeah, good girl.
Dave Edwards reporting there. Well, we're joined now by animal behaviourist Hannah Malloy. Good morning, Hannah. That story that we saw about Mika was a really stark reminder for dog owners, wasn't it? But dogs are often drawn to sticks when you're on a walk, even if you don't choose to throw one for them.
Absolutely. We have to remember they're predators, aren't they? And we want to play games with them that really activate that predatory sequence. So they want to find stuff, they want to chase it, they want to bite it, sometimes they want to tug it, and sometimes they want to lie down and chew it. So we need to create an outlet for that. But just as that gentleman said, you know, sticks are so dangerous. Some people throw rocks too, and they can really damage dogs' teeth. Yeah, it's tricky.
Who would throw a rock for a dog? That's bizarre.
Big dogs, they look like they can handle it, hey?
What is it that makes it so appealing? I mean, you say that dogs have that predatory nature, that instinct, but what is it that, once they've got a stick or whatever has been thrown, what is it that makes them want to chew it? What do they get out of it, as it were?
So just like us, dogs get endorphins from doing exercise and specifically from chewing. So when a dog gets hold of something it really wants to keep a hold of, when they chew down, they get a release of these lovely endorphins. There's one called GABA, and that will actually help their body to feel loads more relaxed. They can become less frightened. So if you have a dog that is, for example, a bit scared of people or a bit scared of other dogs, giving them a chew before you take them for a walk is a really great way of helping them to relax before they go out for that walk. So often, if I'm working with a dog and we've played a game with a toy and they lie down and they start to want to rip it up, I don't know if all of you terrier owners out there are like, yes, my dog does that in a couple of seconds. We want to swap them out at that point so that they can actually destroy and chew and get that satisfying rush of endorphins without doing themselves any damage.
Yeah, because I've always been paranoid, not just about the idea of throwing a stick for a dog, but also letting your dog chew on a stick, because there's the fear about splinters, isn't there?
Absolutely. And it's a bit confusing for owners because if you go to a pet shop, you might see things like olive wood. That's one of the things that's sold that is wood. And so we encourage in some environments dogs to chew on wood, but there's lots of different kinds of wood. So I would just say avoid sticks altogether. Go and buy some really cool toys that are maybe made of rubber, or a ball with a hangy bit off it that throws really far and can be tugged, but isn't going to splinter and isn't going to crack. Yeah.
I was going to say, I suppose all of that seems really obvious when you put it like that and you spell it out. But where do you think this trend of throwing sticks for dogs came from? If lots of dog owners knew this.
Yeah, it's such a good question, isn't it? Do you know what? I think we as humans are very playful too. I think we all like playing with sticks, don't we? If we go for a walk in the woods, we'll pick up a stick and we might do like a pretend sword fight with it, or we might throw it off a bridge and do poo sticks with it. So I think playing with nature is so natural. And dogs have been brought up, a long time ago, they were wolves, and that would have been a very natural part of their environment, would be to pick things up and chew on them. Really important for puppy teeth to come through. So I think sticks are really fun. I think we just have to remember when we get addicted to throwing them, exactly like that, a dog can get itself into a really sticky situation. Oh my goodness.
It's one thing to not throw the stick, but as any dog owner will know, sometimes off its own back, the dog will just go and get a stick and bring it back to you and may not want to let go of it. You could end up in a bit of a tug of war with it. What should you do? Just let the dog get bored and drop it, or should you try
distract it with another toy?
Yeah, what's the strategy?
That is such a good question. And yes, some dogs do. They pick up lots of sticks, don't they? Some dogs I've seen with like 4 or 5 sticks, or just the biggest branch in the forest. And so if you have got a dog like that, you need to know that your dog wants to hold as part of their breed driver. Maybe they're a spaniel or a Labrador, and they just need to hold things. It's so deeply built into who they are. So bring things that they find satisfying that you can swap. I'd use food. Always go out with some food in your pocket. Always go out with a couple of different toys. Ideally a squeaky toy, because a squeaky toy can always be better than just a normal stick. Squeaky squeaker. When your dog drops it, give them that toy instead, and have loads of fun with that instead of the stick. Yeah.
And Hannah, just briefly, is this something that you've come across? Because we heard the case of Mika, but how widespread is the problem of dogs getting injured this way?
Yes, it is. It is quite common, to be honest with you. Sticks do just shatter, and so we just don't want to encourage dogs to chew on them or to play with them. Really, it's so hard to avoid because they are everywhere. But it's so easy to create problems. And even things like getting the right size ball. So sometimes you can get really small balls. And I've had lots of dogs that have had a really tiny ball get stuck in their throat. Yeah. So just be mindful, folks.
OK.
Hannah,
we're going to have to leave it there because we're out of time. But thanks very much for joining us this morning.